Everybody, welcome. Just getting myself on Facebook, so just give me a second. There we go. All right, that should kick in just a minute. All right, everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada, and you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday night tonight, and I jump on Wednesday night and do a technique with you. So I'm always looking for new ideas for techniques. So if you have any, leave a comment either here or on my Facebook group. I'm happy to. If I've never done that technique before, it's always fun to learn a new technique. This one I've called coloring in the negative space, or looking at the, yes, that's what it is. I saw a card, pretty sure it was Emma Goddard from the UK, made a card using, I'm not sure what stamp set it was now that I think about it. It was a leaf. It was really pretty. Maybe a Spotlight on Nature. That's probably what the leaf was. And she colored in the negative space with wild wheat. And if you guys know me, you know I love wild wheat. And so that card immediately got my attention. And so I thought I'd play with that a little bit. And I am going to use the Sweet Peas stamp set. I was looking for a stamp in my stash that I thought would work with this, and I saw this Sweet Peas, and if you haven't seen this adorable stamp set, you need to have a look at it. So let me switch over and we'll get started. All right, so this is the Sweet Peas stamp set. It is just so cute. Look at these little adorables. You can use it for a birthday, happy birthday, welcome Sweet Pea, so new baby, you make me happy, and then hello Grumpy. This grumpy pea, a birthday pea, I guess a party pea, doesn't really matter. This leaf is great. Yeah, like all sorts of ways you could use this. It's just so cute. So that's what I'm going to use. Now, I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to use a few, I think, of these. I need that for the sentiments. Let's get another block out. Maybe a couple of these. Stamps. So I think I'm going to use this one here, which is this one, and maybe this little critter. Looks like a little baby, but I really kind of like it. So I'm going to fill, or more or less fill, my piece of basic white with these images, making sure I leave room to color in between. So we're just going to do some stamping. Look at how cute that is. So I'm coloring, or I'm stamping using Tuxedo Black because I'm going to color with my blends. Try not to, making sure I leave some room. One more. Okay, I think I got enough now. I better clean that off before I get my fingers in this inky mess. Nice thing about this glass mat is you can just clean it up. And I still have embossing. If you joined me last night, you know I did some heat embossing. And so I still have some copper embossing powder on. Hey, Connie, welcome. Okay, so look how cute this is. So the idea behind this is to now color the non-stamped areas. So we're used to coloring the stamped areas. So this time around, we're going to color the in-betweens. And I'm going to start with a little bit of Old Olive. I'm not going to do much blending, but I really love the color combination of Old Olive and Shy Shamrock. So I am just going to go just kind of around just one side of these images, and I'm going to try and do the same side just to kind of, just to add a little bit of maybe interest. Okay, I'll just. And I'm not even going to do, when I do my coloring with my I was going to say shy shamrock. I don't know why I was thinking shaded spruce. Shy shamrock, say that fast. I actually am not even doing any blending. I'm just going to go in and color. And so just adding a little bit of old olive just to add maybe some interest to this. And I'm going to color, I think with light. I'm just going to bring out my grid paper because I just want to see. It's always good to kind of do some testing. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to the light. Oops. The wrong thing in my drawer. I'm going to stick to the light Shy Shamrock. And the lid just went on the floor. Okay. So now I'm just going to kind of color, and I'm going to kind of come up to the line. And I may go back over those lines, but again, I'm coloring the non-stamped sections of my card. Kind of have to think about that because that's not typically how we color. We always color the stamped part. Yeah, I've seen some really adorable cards using this. I kind of ignored this this stamp for the longest time because I don't know. I saw a baby stamp, and I don't usually have babies to make cards for. But then I started to see some really cute birthday cards and other kinds of cards, and so I couldn't resist. Again, we're just coloring in those sections that aren't stamped. So if you were part of my color club last month, I do an in color club. So every time there's new in colors each year released, you get the paper and the ink and the, what else do you get? Paper, ink, a re-inker, Stampin' Blends if there are Stampin' Blends, and the ribbon. And so if you were part of that, we did Shy Shamrock. And I wasn't really inspired until I saw this Shy Shamrock stamp and thought it would be perfect in, or not Shy Shamrock, Sweet Peas stamp. I thought it would be perfect in Shy Shamrock. So I'm not spending a lot of time. I'm actually using the wide brush, so it's going much faster. If you want to be really careful around some of these more smaller spaces, then I'd switch over to the fine tip end of your blend. And if you've got haven't got the blends, you've only got the marker, that works perfectly fine for this technique. Yeah, Emma's card in the Wild Wheat. Hey Hazel, welcome. In the Wild Wheat was so pretty. Gosh, I love Wild Wheat. It's always fun. I've never tried this before, but when I saw it, I thought, oh, I have to try this. I've seen other cards done using this technique. Time I tried. Like I said, I'm always looking for new techniques or techniques I haven't done in a while, or if you're interested in a particular technique, just let me know because I'm happy to figure it out if I've never done it before. I was gonna say I thought I'd had some space yet, or do it again. Okay, just about done. This is a pretty easy card. The longest part of this is the stamping and the coloring, and then we're just going to put the card together. There's not a lot more. There's no die cutting. Gosh, there's no fussy cutting even. Okay, I'm just going to go a little bit around where I did the old olive and just kind of make sure I've blended that. I'm not sure I'd necessarily do that again. I thought maybe having a little bit different color added a little bit, but I don't know. You guys can decide if you do it, if you want to add a little bit of a different color around your. But there we go. That's the extent. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Now I dropped my lid for my blend somewhere on the floor. Oh, there it is. Now it's gone even farther under the table, so I'll have to get that later. So pretty easy. I mean, I could go in and fix some of these, but there we go. I've got a little bit of old olive and then the Shy Shamrock. And if you really wanted to do some other blending and put some other colors, you could go on it and do some, you know, little bits of the darker old olive. I got a piece here. So this, I cut this piece 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I've got a piece of old olive that is, I think 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Oh, thanks, Sandy. Yeah, that's so cute. I just wanted it's what I call my peekaboo mat. So you're just going to see just a little bit of the old olive when this gets glued on. Remember, if you're coloring using the blends, see how they come through? You want to make sure you're coloring either on grid paper or your glass mat, and you don't have your card base or another piece of basic white close by. I got a little close to the edge with that glue, so get rid of that before it goops all over the place. There we go. So we're just going to have that little peekaboo. And then I've got a piece of Shy Shamrock. If you can hear my dog barking, she's wanting treats. So this is 4 1/4 by 11. So we'll score this at 5.5. Fold into the mountain. Now I pulled out some Shy Shamrock ribbon. I'm not sure. Let's see, I need a sentiment. So let's figure out what we're going to do with a sentiment. So I think I'm going to use the one that says, "You make me happy," because it is the one that probably fits the best. This is kind of a thin sentiment. So just flop it down on your grid paper or on the glass mat, and it will take the shape it wants to take. And then I'm going to just trim this piece of basic white to 1/2 inch, because I think that's about the width of that sentiment. And I'm going to stamp it in tuxedo black just because I think the black will pop. Against this. Okay, here's a trick. So when I cut my piece, yeah, something easy to color around. When I cut my piece, I'm going to have to change my blades. I've got a bit of the, this edge is kind of turned up, because sometimes when you cut and your blades are maybe getting a little dull, sometimes it happens regardless. And you get a bit of it's not a rough edge, it's just the edge is turned up a little bit. Just take your bone folder and just kind of rub against it, and it'll flatten those edges. So I am just going to okay, she's trying to decide where she's going to put this and whether she's going to put ribbon on. A hard decision. I don't think I'm putting ribbon on. The ribbon's going to get lost in those colors. And I'm going to use dimensionals to pop my sentiment layer up. I could put a mat behind it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put that right across. Let's try and get this straight. I always use my grid lines on my grid paper or on my glass mat to try and get my sentiment straight, especially if I'm struggling a little bit. There we go. And scissors. And I'm just going to trim those edges off. And then we'll glue this down. Yeah, the leaves, I'm pretty sure the leaves that Emma used were from Spotlight on Nature, which was really pretty. There we go. Okay, now sentiment, because of course they are not sentiment, embellishment. These are the shimmer, the in color shimmer gems. And they come, of course, in all of the in colors. So let's put some Shy Shamrock ones on. And they're kind of going to get lost too, but that's okay. Like that. And then I've got a piece of basic white, some dimensional backings, and I'm just going to take and stamp. I love this little one with all of the peas together. And I'm not going to color that at all. Yeah, so I'd suggest like a leaf, something that's fairly large. These were quite small and a little bit detailed around them. So the leaves are nice. That new Changing Leaves bundle that is an online exclusive would work really well, as would like the Spotlight on Nature that Emma used. Okay, there we go. So that's my coloring in the negative space technique. So lots of things, ways you could use that, but just makes a really pretty card and doesn't, it's a bit mesmerizing. It doesn't take much thought. You can just sit and you could do, you could color, you could stamp a bunch of those ahead of time. Hey, Gabriella. Sorry, I missed you're coming in on your Facebook. Yeah, you could do a bunch of stamping ahead of time and then just sit in front of the TV and do some coloring with it. And I think it would be, yeah, some really cute cards you could make, or some really pretty cards with, depending on the image that you stamp. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. Now, let's see, what is it tonight? It's Wednesday night tonight. I will not be live on Saturday. I am taking my weaving loom. I weave and I spin, and I'm taking my loom to the Cobble Hill Fair on Saturday for a display. The Spinners and Weavers Guild that I'm in is doing they're going to have people spinning and knitting and weaving and doing all sorts of those kinds of crafts. And so I'm taking my loom and I'm going to do some weaving for the day at the Cobble Hill Fair. So if you live local to me on Vancouver Island and you're going to be at the Cobble Hill Fair, come and say hello. I will be, not sure, I think it's called the Stu Armour Building. So come and find me. I'd love to see you. Otherwise, I will be back live on Sunday at 12 noon. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Happy stamping. Bye.